And also to our Super Stock 1000 class, and we acknowledge out there that a win for Jake Lewis ahead of Dan Ormsby from Toby Summers, those three claiming the first three positions. So how ready to get away race one?
All right, we've got a action in the sidecars here. We're joined by Steve Bryan, who's just done about everything in sidecars anybody has in New Zealand. He's ridden, he's passengers, he's mechanic and all that, so we are joined by him. He's just trying to work out how to work out his headset and get it up the right way. And welcome, Steve, and a reasonable strong field of sidecars considering the economic times and that, and quite a close start there. In fact, Pete the Pirate on the number 111 machine almost seemed to get through there. In fact, is that him lying there in second spot as they go? No, it's not.
He has to be in third spot at the moment.
Third, yeah. The grey
Aaron Lovell and Tracy Bryan in first, followed by Colin Buckley and Robbie Shorter.
And that looks like Spike Taylor and Astrid Harton on third place. The local Canterbury machine, number 49. That is Warwick Dimmicks and Will Climo. Another Canterbury man, Alex McDonald. Who's got Alex got swinging from this year? In fact, he's got David Gorst. He had that passenger in Wanganui, I think, on the number 14 machine. And in behind then it was Pete Goodwin and Pete the Pirate with a new passenger this season for down here. Matt Gibbs has had Darren Prentice riding for a number of years, but a change in position there. Matt Gibbs, no stranger to sidecar racing, hasn't had an extensive amount of experience, but with the experience he's had, he's got out there and been right at the front of the New Zealand Superbike Championships on a similar machine. So there we go, we're into lap one and the 93 through the dipper there, the number 93 machine. Aaron Lovell and Tracy Bryan there, they're cutting a bit of a gap. They didn't qualify the fastest, did they, Steve?
No, they come in second. Actually, Colin Buckley qualified quickest. He went under the lap record, of course, unofficially, because it was a practice of qualifying. But yeah, they qualified second, and they're pulling out a fair old lead there at the moment.
That's good, and just to enlighten the crowd a bit, that is in fact Steve, the man with me. That's his wife sitting there on that sidecar out in the lead of the race. And you've done another number of New Zealand championships. How many New Zealand championships you won there, Steve?
I've only won one on modern bikes, but Andy Scrivener Riders run about 9 of them. So yeah, I've been riding around with Scrooge for a few years now, and he goes really well. That
relationship, I think, in terms of racing sidecars, started back in about 85, 86, and then there was a long gap there. Scrivy went a different way and had another lot of passengers. In fact, it was you that went a different way, and Scrivy went through quite a few passengers, but then met up again and said, let's do it again. And you've done a number of seasons. You've also ridden the 600 class as well sometimes, and so has your wife. So she's a very, very experienced person. She's both ridden on moderns and classics and short and long bikes. And she hasn't ridden a long bike yet, has she?
She hasn't ridden a long bike, but I think we're going to change that fairly shortly. So yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about what's actually ambling on the racetrack. It is number 93, but closing in on them is the number 18 machine. This is a 2008 LCR Kawasaki powered machine, and this is the bike that Tim Reeves and Mark Wilk brought over for the Suzuki series. Tim Reeves was it was great to have Tim and Mark coming over to New Zealand to show us what they are like, and 6 times world champions. They brought this bike over here, and it remained in New Zealand under the ownership, I think, of the Carl Cox Motorsport team. And great to have another sidecar in the country too, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, Tim's broken all the lap records at the Tri-Series on it. Banfield, Hampton Downs and Cemetery Circuit by only what could be considered to be a huge margin. It's been really good having them over here. He's been a great help to us setting up the bikes and just showing us how to use them properly, you know. And I know he's listening on Ctas right now, so yeah, g'day Tim, and thanks for joining us, and safe travels home tomorrow.
Well, if he's listening on Ctas, I've no doubt there'll be a couple of texts saying, hey, mate, you might want to adjust this because, mate, 6 times world champion. And that, I think, is the best thing that has happened to sidecar racing for a lot of years. Look at that, a big dive into the hairpin there. Colin Buckley, Robbie Shorter, can they hold it? They run a little bit wide, but come right in there. That was a massive dive under brakes there. They've been setting that up for a couple of laps, so they're going to take off in the distance. But I tell you what, Aaron Lovell puts a hard charger in when he's in second place. He doesn't like to come second, does he, at all?
No, not at all. The bikes are quite different, although they're both LCRs. One's running a GSX-R1000, Aaron's got a GSX-R1000. The lead bike's got a Kawasaki ZX-10R in it, and the weight difference is quite considerable too. The fairings in particular alone are probably 12 or 14 kg difference. So, yeah, very well set up bike there from Tim.
Okay, the battle on there. In fact, our screen's gone blank, so we can't even refer to that, but the battle is on there between the lead two sidecars. A bit of distance going off to Spike Taylor and Astrid Hartnell from Wanganui. Spike Taylor from Marston, Astrid from Wanganui there in third place. They are former New Zealand sidecar champions. They've carried the number one plate, or certainly Spike has over a period of about 25 years. He's carried it at least 3, maybe even 4 times. And in fourth place, Alex McDonald, the local Cantabrian, on the number 17 machine. The number 7. Sorry, it's not. It's a 14 machine. Just got to remember what numbers it was. Yep, it is the 14 machine now. Alex McDonald is he'd be pushing 72, 73 by now.
Yeah, he's definitely retired.
But I'll tell you what, yeah, but mate, he's as fit as a buck, and certainly I think he's been in the shearing game most of his life, and very, very strong. And you need to be a strong sort of person to push one of these sidecars. There we go, 49 through the start-finish stripe there. Local team again, Warwick Dimmock and Will Climo. They've done a couple of trips to the North Island racing this season so far. They went up to the Hampton Downs Barry Sheen Shore Eye Battery weekend and did a weekend up there racing, and of course they went to the Cemetery Circuit as well as part of the Suzuki Series. So put plenty of effort into sidecar racing. In behind them is the 111 machine all the way from Auckland, and that's the Auckland, what's he? He's a prison officer, Pete the Pirate. He came out to New Zealand about 10 or 12 years ago, raced at the World Championship, or at the English Championship sort of level, brought a couple of sidecars into New Zealand and just lives for his sidecars, and that's on the 111 machine, and won a race. I think he won his first ever New Zealand Superbike Championship race at Timaru 2 years ago. It's taken a lot of seasons to do that, so he's got the capability every now and then of getting out there in the front. But speaking of the front, coming through the dipper, it is Colin Buckley and Robert Shorter opening up a bit of a gap, but not too much of a gap there. There's probably 15 to 25 bike lengths in between first and second, and that's the number 93 spot machine in second spot there. Aaron Lovell doing the driving with Tracy Bryan there on the side. And then, we shouldn't really ask a woman's weight, but okay, she's not the biggest of ladies. Any idea what she weighs?
Well,
secretly?
Probably between 50 and 57 kg somewhere. I wouldn't get too specific, but it changes in the holiday period, of course, you know.
Oh, yeah, a couple of wines and, you know, whatever is happening. But at the end of the day, okay, you've been a swing around, and let's say she's 57 kilos. What is the ideal weight for the sidecar? Would it be, say, 87 kilos or 37 kilos?
Well, Tim's listening, so I better be careful. It's probably somewhere around the 70 odd kgs, I would think, would be spot on, so it would give it the acceleration, you know, without too much weight, plus enough weight to hold the wheels down. So I'd say it's somewhere around there.
It's all a bit of a compromise. I remember when I was sidecar racing back in the 80s, I was talking back in the old Stone, and the passenger that I replaced, she was 7 stone, and I think I was 12. So Rachel McQueen.
That must have been a long time ago, to say, Spider, just looking at you. But
yeah, well, this stomach here is from the winter, unfortunately. I think it's winter 1987, but that was the difference, and certainly it changed the handling characteristics of the machine, the acceleration. You can get round corners a bit quicker. Your cornering speed was a little bit more because I had the weight to hold the sidecar.
Got to move over here into the hairpin. Pete the Pirate up the inside of Warwick, and yeah, he's pulled that off nicely and made it stick.
That was a nice move. He's been eyeing that up for a wee while. Warwick Dimmock is a local rider here and has done the here in Timaru, spends probably about 6 meetings a year competing at both race tracks, so he'll be lining up Pete the Pirate. The speed match seems to be very, very even there for the sidecars, so he'll be lining him up for another bit of a chance to get back there into, I think it is 5th spot there. We lost our screen completely. Out onto the front straight, and it is indeed number 18, Colin Buckley and Robbie Shorter. These guys went to the Isle of Man. Robbie Shorter has never ridden to the Isle of Man. Colin Buckley rode the Isle of Man last century a couple of times, and they decided to go to the Isle of Man this year and took a little wee 600cc machine. They bought it in England, brought it back to New Zealand, took it back over there, and I think they got 15th in the first race and a massive 11th spot in second place, second race there at the Isle of Man TT. And then at the same time, while they were over there, they took their big bike from New Zealand as well and went and competed at the World Superside Sidecar Championships. They did 2 rounds, didn't they, Steve?
Yeah, they did Oshta Slapa, I think it's called.
Yeah, that's why I passed it over to you, because I had no idea how to say it.
Yeah, did they finish 8th? I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, we have to check with them. Yeah, they had a very good, they had a clutch problem at one of the races, but certainly, and then went to Germany for a round the second time round as well. So, wow, a New Zealand sidecar team going over there and taking 2 motorcycles over there and competing at the Isle of Man TT and a couple of rounds of the World Superbike Championships. Who would have thought that a couple of years ago? That is, Carl Cox Motorsport is a huge funder behind that and a great guy to have around the sport, even though he's not even a Kiwi.
And yeah, and they're planning to do the same thing again this year with F1 and F2 bikes. And yeah, full on at the Isle of Man. Apparently there's a 2-bike team. We don't know the details yet, but all will be revealed, I'm sure.
Okay, we don't know how many laps there are to go because our screen's sort of gone off the air and that, and maybe we'll see if we can refresh that. We're going back to Steve.
Just going back to this meeting last year, Aaron and Tracy, unfortunately, at turn 2 had complete brake failure and had a massive crash over into the tyres there by the plexiglass sign. Yeah, it was pretty bad, and Tracy was in a neck brace for a while, and bike was quite smashed up. So they've come to lay that to rest this year. We know why the brakes failed, and that will never happen again. And so yeah, they're sort of putting a few demons to bed today, and they're doing it quite nicely. So I'm quite pleased with that.
Oh, mate, she must be the Iron Lady of motorcycle racing at Whanganui. How many didn't have a win, but they qualified fastest. And, you know, I mean, Tim Reeves and Mark Wilkes come out here. OK, unfortunately, Mark Wilkes wasn't able to compete at the cemetery circuit. But Tim come over here and blasted 3.5 seconds off the lap record at Hampton Downs and nearly 4 seconds off the Manfield one. We're getting to Whanganui and going to say, oh, well, this man's going to disappear off the distance. But indeed, it was Aaron Lovell and Tracy Bryan qualified on pole position at Whanganui and
yeah,
got a couple of good fine places as well.
Look, to be fair, I am aware that Tim did have a gearbox problem, which I actually assisted him to fix. So that was quite real, and yeah, that's what put him back there in the second place, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, all credit to them. You know, they did put it on pole, and
but it certainly wasn't in the racing. The gap wasn't substantial like it was at the other tracks. It was just, you know, there was very little in it, you know,
yeah,
maybe, and lap records. And the great thing about the sidecar, here we go, battle there over the back there. It is in the hairpin.
Outside of the pirate again. That's not going to stick.
Around the outside.
That's cost him a bit of time.
Oh, he'll drive it back there, might get back into the slipstreaming, and the Pirate's actually got 2 brands of bikes here. He's got 2 machines, he's got a window and an LCR, and he's not sure, I don't even know what he's on today.
He's on the window today, I understand. He gets them off the trailer, tries them both, and the one that works best at that track he sticks to. So, yeah, I understand it's the window today. The other one was all over the shop, so he couldn't get it right. Jumped on the window and he's happy, so. One of the few bikes and carts, two bikes to the track to see which one works properly.
Oh, well, at least he's got that up his sleeve, and yeah, certainly a thing there to have up his sleeve, you know. Anyway, where are we going? We're looking at... I haven't touched nothing, mate. All right, that battle was on still between Warwick Dimmicks and Will Climo there, and also Pete the Pirate with Matt Gibbs on the side. They're coming out of the dipper, they're well out of the dipper, that Dunlop dipper there, going into the sweeper. Well, this is one of the few battles that's actually happening out on the track. A lot of the other sidecars are well spread out there. They're coming along the front straight. We'll see who is the fastest of the 2 bikes. That Windle there, is that got a Yamaha or Suzuki? They're all Suzuki motors now, aren't they?
They're both G6000 is Windle and is...
So there's no difference in the speed along there. It's all down to who's better on certain corners. Indeed, Warwick Dimmicks does close right up there under brakes. That's where he's got a big advantage. He closes up, but as they open up coming out of the corner, it is the grey bike of 111, Pete the Pirate, sort of opening up a bit there, but not getting away there, Steve Bryan. Warwick Dimmicks closes up there. We've seen most of the passing going on the hairpin. Over to you.
One of the best runs I've seen Warwick have, actually. I said to him this morning, you've got to find that throttle, mate, and the brake pedal, and he seems to have taken my advice. But yeah, that's as hard as I've seen him go pretty much ever. The Pirate's a pretty hard charger, and he's oh, hand up there on the Pirate bike. No, yeah, they're slowing. Yeah, Pete the Pirate's out. That's
well, that's a bit of a shame there. Matt Gibbs, at least he had the wise intention to put up his hand and show that there was a problem. Otherwise, you might end up with that big black bike, the number 49 bike, riding over that sidecar. So 2 laps to go here, and what is the lap record we got? In fact, look at that. It's incredible. The last time. Do I believe this? Oh, no, I'm sorry.
I don't think you can believe that.
No, I'm looking at the
back marker's done at 104. That's not right.
No, I was actually looking at the total time and thinking that was a new lap record at 3:34, but the lap record was 1:39.656, still is 1:39.656. These boys went under the lap record in the qualifying this morning, but right now they're sitting there in the 1:44 mark. It's enough to hold their lead as we got 2 laps to go, and there they are. We'll see that lead bike there. They're going off into the distance there. Where are they there? That's them.
There's about a 300-metre gap, I would imagine.
Yep, that's them coming into the southern salvage corner there by the pylon. Yeah, that is the bike number 18. Robbie Shorter doing the swinging for Colin Buckley. Colin Buckley also very well. He's definitely a talented rider. Gave up sidecar racing for a lot of years. He had a massive crash at Menfield about 2002, 2004 or thereabouts, and hurt himself a bit too much and walked away from the sport a while, and came back last year, and wow, what a comeback as well.
He's got the dubious privilege of riding off the first LCR sidecar in New Zealand, broke into 3 pieces at turn 1 at Manfield.
Yeah, well, I remember also one season there, about 98, 99, the guy won the New Zealand. Sorry, what was that?
Pirates back on.
Oh, that's good.
Found another gear and he's away.
Colin Buckley did something that no one's ever done in history. He used a different passenger for every round of the New Zealand Superbike Champions. Now, from a riding point of view, mate, that's pretty tough, because you've got to have the confidence in your passenger, and to be able to, and also from a riding point of view, you're up to speed, you're onto it. You've been doing this every meeting, whereas your passenger hasn't necessarily done it. So new lap record there for Colin Buckley.
Yeah, he's just done a 1:38, 1:24, so that is a new lap record for the circuit. So that's great news for him.
1:38, 1:24, so that's a hell of a big gap there, because it was a 1:39.6, so that's nearly 1.5 seconds off the lap record.
Yeah, I think he went quicker than that in qualifying this morning though, so yeah. We always knew he was good for it.
Yeah, okay, so we've got the column coming in the best time, and Neil Ritchie's pointing that out, and I'm just pointing him out, the lap record as well, so absolutely massive. And don't forget, they'll be after the New Zealand Grand Prix. There's 2 sidecar races. All the classes this weekend have 3 races, 1 today and 2 tomorrow, and the final race of the weekend for the whole round is also national points and the New Zealand Grand Prix, so we'll see that. So the white flag is out. We're looking out there into the distance and looking for that number 18 sidecar just coming out of the Christchurch Casino corner, coming down that corkscrew. What a magnificent sounding machine, number 18 machine. This bike was the first off the production line of the LCR, the Swiss company, Louis Christian Racing, serial number 1 from the 2008. So it's not even a modern machine. It's 7 or 8 years old, isn't it?
Yes, the early chassis they changed. Louis Christian changed the chassis recently, and it's a more rigid unit. Some of the riders don't like that. So this chassis will remain popular, I think, for a few years to come.
And we were talking about the Iron Lady, Tracy Bryan as well, and how magnificent she did, hanging on at Wanganui all the way through, especially when Aaron hit the curb there and just about tried to flick her off. But she also passengered for her brother in the classic classes and did so well there that they had to start off the back of the grid all weekend, did they, Wanganui?
They had issues with qualifying and ended up on the back row. So, yeah, on the BMW, their father built Roger Stent, a sidecar racer from way back, and they ended up in the 3rd place by the first corner, so yeah.
Okay, that's done and dusted. Well, some of the races done and dusted. Colin Buckley and Robbie Shorter taking the full 25 points. There is also 1 point, I think there's 1 point this season for